Bletchley Park, England, 1941. The time machine materializes in the woods near the Victorian mansion that houses Britain's top-secret code-breaking operation. Inside, brilliant mathematicians work around the clock to crack the German Enigma cipher, a code that changes daily and protects all Nazi military communications. Alex approaches the facility carefully. Tempest has provided detailed historical records. Alan Turing and his team will eventually crack the code, shortening the war by an estimated 2 years and saving millions of lives. But the breakthrough takes time during which convoys are sunk, cities are bombed, and battles are lost because the Allies cannot read enemy communications. Alex carries something invaluable. Tempest's database contains the mathematical principles behind modern computing and cryptography, knowledge decades ahead of 1941. He could accelerate the code-breaking effort dramatically, potentially saving thousands of lives by ending the war months or even years earlier. Then manages to get hired as a clerk, low-level enough not to raise suspicion. Over the following days, he observes the codebreakers at work. Turing is brilliant, but struggling with specific mathematical problems that won't be solved for weeks. Alex sees opportunities to hint at solutions. A suggestion here, a leading question there. Small nudges that could speed the process. But then he notices something troubling. The Guardian is here too, working as a researcher in a different section. They encounter each other in the mansion library. The Guardian doesn't threaten or intervene. He simply asks Alex a question. If you shorten the war, what happens to the millions of people whose lives are shaped by its specific duration? Tempest runs simulations. If the war ends 6 months earlier, certain military units never deploy. Certain refugees never flee. Certain couples never meet. The ripple effects eliminate millions of future births and create millions of different ones. It's not saving lives. It's replacing one population with a different population. Alex himself might be erased if his grandparents' meeting depended on wartime circumstances that no longer occur. The horror of World War II was so profound that it led to the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Geneva Conventions, and a collective determination to prevent future genocides. If the war is less terrible, shorter, fewer casualties, does humanity learn the lesson as deeply? The Guardian shows simulations where A_quote_0_World War II leads to more frequent smaller wars in the decades following, as the international community never develops the same commitment to peacekeeping. Alex argues passionately. How can suffering be pedagogical? How can we justify letting people die so future generations learn better values? The Guardian's response is uncomfortable. We don't justify it. We simply observe that it happened and that positive developments emerge from tragedy. Trying to remove the tragedy often removes the developments too. Their philosophical debate is interrupted by a genuine crisis. A German spy has infiltrated Bletchley Park and is photographing code-breaking documents. If this intelligence reaches Berlin, the Germans will change their encryption methods, and months of work will be lost. Alex and the Guardian both detect the breach simultaneously. For the first time, they work together actively. The spy is clever, but not prepared for 2 time travelers coordinating via advanced technology. They track him through the facility, corner him in the communications room just as he's about to transmit photographs to a German agent outside. Alex disables the transmitter while the Guardian restrains the spy. British security arrives and takes the man into custody, never knowing how close they came to disaster. In the aftermath, Alex and the Guardian talk openly for the first time. The Guardian reveals more about himself. He's not exactly human, not exactly AI, but something in between. He exists to maintain timeline stability, to ensure that the broad strokes of history remain intact even when time travelers interfere with details. He's been monitoring Alex not to stop him, but to teach him to work within history's constraints rather than against them. The Guardian explains the truth about time travel. Small changes are permissible, even beneficial, saving a family in Pompeii, preserving some texts from Alexandria, helping a few more people escape the Titanic. These create minor ripples that generally smooth out. But attempting to prevent major events or drastically change outcomes creates massive instabilities that usually result in worse alternatives. Alex asks the ultimate question. If he can't change the big things, what's the point? The Guardian's answer is simple: to bear witness, to understand, to preserve knowledge, to make small mercies where possible. to become someone who knows the full weight of history and can help guide others from that knowledge. Before Alex leaves, he does plant one subtle idea with Turing, a mathematical approach that will save the codebreaker about 2 weeks of work. Not enough to change the war's timeline significantly, but enough to break a specific Enigma variant that will save one particular convoy carrying medical supplies. Small ripples, marginal improvements. As Alex prepares to leave, Tempest detects an anomaly. The next event on the timeline is personal: the Cuban Missile Crisis, October 1962, the closest humanity has ever come to nuclear war. But Tempest's systems are malfunctioning. Residual damage from the World War I temporal loop. The next jump might be one way. Alex might get stuck in 1962. The Guardian warns him not to go, but Alex makes a choice. If there's any event where a small intervention might prevent catastrophe without breaking history, it's this one. 13 days when the world balanced on the edge of annihilation and rational leadership barely prevailed. He sets the coordinates, knowing he might not make it back. The time machine vanishes, leaving the Guardian watching from Bletchley Park with an expression that might be respect.